Welcome to Spoiler Warning, featuring myself, Tom Colohue. Today we're going to be going in depth on the upcoming WWE Extreme Rules 2022 pay-per-view, changes that Triple H has been making to the card, plans in and around the card, including stipulations for certain matches. We're also going to be discussing the main event, as well as a little bit on Mustafa Ali's involvement with the White Rabbit. We spoke about this on Friday, but there's a little more information coming through as we speak. There's also a little more to be added to the card, but apparently very little in the way of planning for a US or IC championship to take place at the show. After that, of course, we head straight into Saudi Arabia, where we have Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul. Roman Reigns nor Logan Paul are expected to be at Extreme Rules, though the Usos may well still be there, and the Bloodline is expected to be represented in some manner. So welcome to the show, everyone. As I say, plenty of news to cover. I am Tom Colohue. For those who don't already know, I'm the journalist who reported on the return of Becky Lynch, the return of Sasha Banks when it in fact did happen, and of course plenty more. Most recently had it confirmed by Triple H about NXT UK's shutdown, Ronda Rousey's return, CM Punk situation. Still plenty of information going to be coming out soon. Welcome everyone. Be sure to hit like. We've only got 8 likes so far and 38 viewers. I think we can do a little bit better. And subscribe if you haven't already. So, let's talk first and foremost, before we get to the chat, about Extreme Rules. And Triple H's plan at the moment is for an extreme stipulation to feature in every single match. I can't guarantee he's going to get it through the line, but he wants a stipulation on every single match. This is why the strap match was brought in, even though it's the first match of the feud. It's also why we've seen at Extreme Rules stipulation added, to Liv Morgan versus Ronda Rousey, and it's why we already have the fight pit in play for Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle. The intention is to essentially warm the crowd up, for War Games by giving them a taste of Extreme without going all the way. So it's a little bit of an extreme flash of leg. It's a little bit of a flash of leg for the whole world of Extreme Wrestling. There is going to be a stipulation for Bianca Belair versus Bayley. Extreme Rules was discussed, but is unlikely now that Liv Morgan and Ronda Rousey have that element. So there will be something brand new in play. Not a brand new stipulation, but something that isn't already on the card. I'd be excited, for example, by a lumberjill match or a cage match. Something that would keep Damage Control out and Bianca Belair and Bayley in. There was a discussion about a return of the I Quit match, but I do not believe Triple H is going to be going in that direction after they were unable to actually manage that because of Bayley's previous injury. Discussions as regards the main event are ongoing. Almost every match could main event this card. Almost every match, at least thus far. That means that we could see Liv Morgan and Ronda Rousey main event. This, in my opinion, has the most behind it, the highest likelihood of main eventing, primarily because of all the stipulations. The one it has is the namesake, Extreme Rules. Ronda Rousey is one of the biggest names in wrestling. A lot of people not happy about that, but it is the situation. With her current position as a face, there is a lot of belief that this could be the show that really gets her over, an Extreme Rules match, taking the championship from Liv Morgan in the main event. And with no actual championships, the top championships anyway, on the line, no Roman Reigns expected, Ronda Rousey and Liv Morgan are making a very strong case to main event. Let's jump into the chat and see what people are up to. First messages come from Sai saying, "Hi Tom and all, hope everyone's good." Welcome Sai, how are you? And Stuart Ridley also says, "Evening all." Welcome Stuart. Over on the Twitch side, Spider Boss first in says, "Hello Tom, what happens first?" That is a question about Sasha Banks, and you know what happens when you ask questions about Sasha Banks. There is nothing new to report on Sasha Banks, so I'm not going to report anything on Sasha Banks. Spider Boss says, "Do you think Man United should sell Harry Maguire?" Yes, I think England should sell Harry Maguire. I think everyone should sell Harry Maguire. John Moriner says, "Is it really an Extreme Rules pay-per-view when only 1 or 2 matches have that stipulation?" Yes, it is, because while there will be one Extreme Rules match, there are stipulations planned for every other match, which should tell you everything you need to know about the nature of Extreme Rules. Spider Boss says, what is next for Damage Control? Easy. Bayley will be challenging Bianca Belair at Extreme Rules. That's next. Connor says, hey Tom, hope you've had a good day. Good day so far, Connor, thank you. Hope you're well as well. Sean says, hello Tom. Hello, Sean. Spider Boss says, is it me or did Scarlett botch the fireball? Yes, Scarlett did indeed botch the fireball. It wasn't necessarily her fault. The fireball may have botched itself. There are a lot of botched fireballs in the WWE nowadays. What I will point out naturally is that the botch resulted in an audible being called. Drew McIntyre made the decision that he would continue as if the fireball did not happen. The low blow was basically Scarlett whispering behind him, I'm going to hit you with a low blow, and him just going, okay. They worked it out in the end. Drew was supposed to go down. He was certainly made to look a lot stronger than I feel he needed to look, but we got to where we needed to be eventually. Venom, no worries. You may have missed a Smackdown watch along, but that's absolutely fine. You do your thing. You do your thing. Michael asks about Sasha Banks. Welcome, Michael. How you doing, mate? I did like seeing your list of sort of top engagement on Twitter recently. I like how many of those people are also here. I know that one of them is Sasha Banks and she's not here, that we know of, but it was very nice to see. It shows how integral you've been to this particular community, mate. Joe says, I still haven't watched any of the Saudi Blood Money shows. I watched the first one. The first one. Eric says, hi Tom, how are you? Very good, Eric. How are you, mate? Jermaine says, hi Tom. Hi Jermaine. I hope you had a great weekend. Can't wait to hear the wrestling news that you have. I just wish everyone would be patient about Sasha and Naomi. People are very excited about the eventual return of Sasha and Naomi. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I have more news than I have. I've already shared all the news that I can, and there's nothing new to report. When there is, I assure you it'll be in the title, but I'm not upset at anyone who really wants the news. I just think maybe it's time to wait until I either have it or until someone else has it. KJ says, what's going on, Tom? What's going on, KJ? How you doing, mate? Austin Palmeter says, I got a feeling the White Rabbit music will play during a match. Maybe that's when someone actually comes out. We'll see. All signs seem to point to Bray Wyatt, which is the biggest suggestion that it's not Bray Wyatt. Hi Monique, how you doing? Connor says, by the way, Liv retweeted a tweet from Bayley saying, believe it or not, this is only the beginning. Maybe our brainstorm about Liv potentially being in Damage Control has some foundation. Yeah, I spotted that and I liked it. It's worth pointing out, Connor, and I thank you for bringing that in. I was speculating about Liv Morgan joining Damage Control, but it seems to be gaining a little tiny bit of momentum. I can't call it a rumour, it is still rampant speculation, but wouldn't it be fun? After all, it was rampant speculation when I mentioned that Johnny Gargano was going to be shown The Way by Austin Theory. Hi Jaden, how you doing, mate? Spider-Boss says Bianca versus Bayley no holds barred. If it's no holds barred, Damage Control will be heavily involved. Personally, I think the stipulation should be focused on getting them out of the way. Jaden is asking about Sasha. Johnny says, hi Tom, hope you're doing well, mate. Doing very well, thank you. Very well, hope you're doing well as well. Simon says, hi Tom, any new updates on Adam Cole, the CM Punk contract buyout, Wade Keller rumours? Thank you. Welcome, Simon. So as regards Adam Cole, at this point in time, he is apparently cleared, should be wrestling again, so we'll see him shortly. As regards his contract, he is still very much under contract to AEW and not expected to be released or return to the WWE. From what I can tell, very happy there. As regards CM Punk, that came directly from Wade Keller, my boss at PWTorch. I see no reason to doubt it. I haven't had it confirmed personally, but I don't doubt his report. Eric suggests a casket match for Bianca Belair versus Bayley. That would be confusing. Brad Becker says, hello Tom. Hello Brad, how you doing? Spider-Boss says, Ronda beating Liv in the possible main event could leave fans happy. Yes, very much so, particularly with the situation as is, but Liv Morgan working against Lacey Evans suggests I may be on the wrong track there. Venom says, it's really annoying waking up to watch Raw hoping for Sasha to be back, only to find no Sasha, no return. Yep, but that's kind of the point. They want you to watch, and they're managing it. Simon says, Jermaine, we live in 30-second TikTok generation plus a YouTube Shorts video in this generation, so there isn't any patience, just impatience, which is absolutely correct and a very fair comment. A lot of impatient people here. A lot of impatient people. Patrick says, hi Tom. Hello, Patrick. And Eddie says, any update on AEW requested releases? I gave an update on Friday's show. As regards a number of people who've been contacted, Keith Lee, Ruby Soho, Ember Moon, all names that have been mentioned to me, and something about William Regal and Samoa Joe as well. So by all means, check that out. King Rail, welcome, first and foremost, has super chatted a $5 donation. Thank you very kindly, King Rail. Says, thank you for your time and love you. I appreciate that, mate. I really do appreciate that. Thank you kindly. Donations like that make a real difference to the channel and really help me grow. Plus, they almost immediately guarantee that I'll get more likes, get more viewers, and so on and so forth, because it ups that engagement. So, huge thank you, King Rail. Really appreciate that. Joey says, hey Tom, do you know what the situation is with Buddy Matthews? Is he taking time off, or has he asked for his release? I don't necessarily know if Buddy Matthews has been working under a contract with AEW, and that's the immediate difficulty. He may just be taking time off. I suspect he is, but I don't necessarily suspect that we're going to see him back in AEW. Spider-Boss says, I loved the segment of Sammy and the Bloodline on Friday. Me too. If you watch the watch party, you'll have seen quite a genuine reaction from me on that one. I got emotional. I got very emotional, and I loved it. Carmelina says, hi. Hello, Carmelina. Johnny Mendez says, was Fightful's report about NXT TakeOver returning true? If so, I'd imagine they're going to wait until NXT's full relaunch when they are next live. I did discuss the return of elements of NXT Black and Gold. TakeOver would certainly fit that bill. I cannot sit here and say Fightful's report is true because I, firstly, haven't seen Fightful's report. I'm guessing it's behind a paywall. Simon says, any new news on Saraya / Paige being cleared by Adam Sampson? TK, AW doctor's team, her own doctor cleared to wrestle. Her own doctor has cleared her to wrestle. However, that is not technically the way that it works with wrestling companies. The main reason, of course, we didn't see her wrestle with the WWE is the very, very simple fact that she would not be cleared by a WWE doctor. Pardon me. In the light of name redacted and the situation there, WWE doctors have been incredibly and extra careful. With that in mind, naturally, WWE doctors were not willing to clear her. At the time of the last show, she was not officially cleared. However, she has been assured by AEW before signing the contract she would be assessed by an independent doctor, and she believes if an independent doctor assesses her, she will be cleared to wrestle. So I do expect Saraya to wrestle in AEW. I just don't necessarily think it'll be immediately. Jaden says, Tom, do you think Bayley is beating Bianca? I do not yet. Eric says, Tom, what do you think about people caring about Liv and MJF hanging out together? I think those people are very sad. People can have friends. It's okay. King Rail says, AJ joins Judgment Day, adds some credibility, and they face Roman and them in War Games. I don't necessarily think AJ is going to be involved in War Games. I don't think AJ is going to be involved in too much at the moment, but he is on his way towards a push at least. Triple H is working out what to do with him at the moment. Having him wrestle Sami Zayn in an exhibition match is certainly a good start. AJ Styles versus Johnny Gargano is on the docket. Simon says, according to Zero News, Tom, Bayley versus Bianca is going to be a ladder match. Very stupid after her knee surgery. Well, firstly, we don't know if that's true, Simon, just to be clear. Zero News have been both right and wrong in the past, and I think we're all very aware of that. As regards the ladder match, I don't necessarily think that's going to be the case personally, but we'll see how it actually plays out. We know there's going to be a stipulation. My suspicion is more like cage match, lumberjill, etc. It would be a better way to do it personally. I think given how they've been working, a lumberjill match which features a return of Becky Lynch in a non-wrestling capacity would be very, very fun. Congratulations, Spider-Boss. Michael says Smackdown got some big time ratings. King Jamesy says Smackdown rating hit 2.535 million, and you are absolutely correct there. It is a hell of a rating. The biggest rating in a calendar year, and SmackDown has gone up and up and up. It's absolutely fantastic. To say that Triple H and, well, Nick Khan, Stephanie McMahon, the TV executives are thrilled with this rating. Fox is extremely happy with the situation since Vince McMahon left. Keyfo Tool, welcome, says, what matches are you most looking forward to at Extreme Rules? I'm intrigued about the Fight Pit match. Still disappointed about SummerSlam a month ago and their scheduled match. I'm happy the match was rescheduled, knowing what we've had since. We had a real escalation going into it. It didn't feel so throwaway. The Fight Pit, I think, is going to be a lot of fun. I personally still very much have my eye on this Extreme Rules match. I think Ronda and Liv could really tear the house down. It's a chance for Ronda to really show what she's made of. Thomas Phipps, welcome, says, hi Tom, sorry I'm late. I'll be watching from the beginning, so sorry if I repeat a question. Not a worry, Thomas, you go right ahead. If you have, I won't answer it on the basis that I know you'll be catching up. Spider-Boss says, could we see Liv becoming more heel? Yes, we absolutely can. Jarrett says, hello Tom. Hope things are going well. Going very well, thank you Jarrett. Much obliged. Jaden says, Tom, do you think they were going to get another belt swap, or will the champion stay on their brand? I wanted Lashley for the longest time onto SmackDown near Roman. I still think that's a possibility. He may lose the championship before then, because I know Lashley versus Reigns has been discussed a lot backstage. This is something that they want, and they want badly. It's been discussed a lot. However, I can't sit here and say it's absolutely going to happen. With Triple H coming in, things have changed, and things have absolutely changed, and that makes things a little more difficult to just make those things happen. After all, the draft may now be coming after WrestleMania, meaning that whoever Roman faces at WrestleMania is immediately separate from someone like Bobby Lashley. But then, right after WrestleMania, we could get Roman versus Bobby Lashley, which I think is a wonderful place to be. So it's really hard to tell at this point. Will, welcome, says, I love how MJF took a picture with Liv just so he can get the people talking, and man, did they. Sean says, on the Ringer Wrestling Show podcast, Triple H went on record and stated the person behind the White Rabbit phenomenon is someone nobody is talking about. When he says no one, does he mean no one? Because, and I was about to come into this, so thank you very kindly for that, I mentioned on Friday that this whole White Rabbit character, the whole build for it, feels a lot like Mustafa Ali and his SmackDown hacker, particularly with the coordinates, with the games. This is feeling like Ali. You haven't seen anyone else mention that, after all. So that could be very, very telling. Bear with me 1 second. Pardon me. We currently have 39 likes but 89 viewers. Please remember to hit the like button. It makes a very, very big difference and could well put us over the top of 100 viewers, which would be a wonderful thing for the growth of the channel. Please do consider it. Ali is someone that I've been doing a little more research on, because I do believe there are some definite similarities with what's going on when it comes to this White Rabbit character. I don't think it's Bray Wyatt. I think it's teasing Bray Wyatt, and that convinces me that it's not the case. Though I have reported previously, Bray Wyatt's been offered a hell of a contract, and the WWE are confident of getting that over the line. Going forwards, we'll have to wait and see what happens with the White Rabbit and whether or not it is, in fact, Mustafa Ali. But it makes sense to me. Simon says, Zero News is also reporting that Edge returns tonight, and it's going to be Edge versus Finn Balor in an I Quit match at Extreme Rules. If Edge returns tonight, what was the point in letting him go anyway? Personally, I find it more likely that we see him towards the end of the year, maybe day one. There's no real build to a story there, unless it's going to be multi-man. I find it more likely we're going to see, for example, Rey versus Finn, and Rey Mysterio gets involved. But we'll see. I mean, Zero News do get the rundown. That's been proven, so they may be onto something. Spider-Boss says, Fightful reported Buddy Matthews would be leaving AEW for a while. Buddy Matthews denied Fightful's report today. A lot of people deny reports. Buddy Matthews is another one. Aleister Black has denied Fightful reports before, literally a couple of days before they're proven true. Fightful don't pitch 100%. No one pitches 100%. We have to keep that in mind. Keith O'Toole suggests for Bianca Belair versus Bayley a barbed wire steel cage match. It happened for JBL on The Big Show. Oof. Traffic says, good afternoon, Tom. As always, thanks for the reports. Not a worry, Traffic. Welcome to the show. Bailey says, hello, Tom. Any news on the expiring Hulu agreements for WWE reruns? Yes, the WWE have reached out to a number of different providers, primarily of streaming services such as Amazon Prime, Netflix, etc., about a deal. They are looking to see if anyone will pay them more, and I'm confident they will find someone who will, particularly if they're able to get the full show rather than the edited down segment, but that would need confirmation from the USA Network and also, of course, from Fox. Austin says, so there's more AEW talents wanting out. Yep, we're going to hear a lot more about them. After all, if you've been keeping an eye on this channel, you know full well that I reported about the the potential for moving FTR over 2 weeks ago. It was reported by the Fightful paywall 3 days ago. Eric says, do you think Riddle could go back to NXT to be with his son? Not to be with his son, but I think he could go back to NXT. More on that on Friday's show, as in the one's just gone. KJ says 2.5 million viewers for SmackDown last week, 400k more than previous week. I'd say that was mainly due to Roman and the Bloodline. Some say because White Rabbit, what would you say? I think the White Rabbit element is certainly helping, and I think you have to factor in both of those. The Bloodline and Roman certainly are a big help, but there is no questioning that a lot of people are very excited about White Rabbit, and write that off at your peril. Keith says, what would happen for the SmackDown Women's Championship match? Liv Morgan wrestles Ronda Rousey in an Extreme Rules match. Sean wishes happy birthday to Buddy Matthews and Asuka. I've met Buddy Matthews coming out of a lift with Nikki Cross. Daz Reynolds, welcome, says big up Tom. Who do you think White Bunny is? White Rabbit? I believe it's got a lot to do with Mustafa Ali. Keith says it's amazing that Jericho won the Ring of Honor Championship despite never wrestling there. I know, right? It certainly doesn't seem to quite fit with the Ring of Honor model. Will says, do you know if the Buddy Matthews thing is a storyline or he may be done? It's not a storyline, it's a real thing. It's not a work. It is not a work. Venom says, do you think Dragunov or Alba Fire dethrones Breaker or Mandy? If so, which is more likely? Dragunov is more likely. I don't see Alba Fire dethroning Mandy Rose. Simon says, new theory, Adam Rose the Bunny is a White Rabbit. I've seen that one a few times, mate. Sean says, AJ versus Sammy, Seth versus Ray, Johnny and KO versus Alpha Academy, and EO versus Bianca. Raw is stacked tonight. They've been stacked for a while. They really know how to get people interested, don't they? Steve Englund, welcome, mate. Says, Raw's in Edmonton tonight, first time in 11 years. Spider-Boss says, if Saraya ever wrestles in AEW, I hope people in WWE protect Saraya. Why would people in WWE protect Saraya when she no longer wrestles there? Kervin says, for me, Bianca and Bayley, lumberjack match, perfect. I wholeheartedly agree. Dad says, Tom, what do you think of Sting going to Japan with Muta in a tag match? Why the hell not? You might as well get as much bang for your buck as you can. KJ says, ladder match could be a way to not pin Bianca, but she was already pinned recently. If it's a ladder match, Damage Control can get involved, so maybe a Cell or Lumberjill match, like you mentioned. I do feel that's more likely. The Lumberjill concept plays to how many people they've already pissed off. And it would be a great vehicle for a returning Becky Lynch. The cage, naturally, would be a way to separate them. Though I don't see a Cell being involved, particularly with War Games so close. So I think the Lumberjill is maybe more likely. Spider-Boss says, I have high expectations on Bayley versus Bianca at Extreme Rules. We know it's going to be good. We know they can wrestle a good match, and we know Bianca Belair's actively been getting better. I'm very excited for it, though I fear with Damage Control being Damage Control, it's going to be overbooked. KJ said, did you see Ronda mentioning wanting to use thumbtacks on her stream? I did not. I did not see that, and you've just got me very, very excited, KJ. Very excited. I may be watching a pay-per-view where I need to stop and be like, ooh, quite a lot. Kevin says, do you think Triple H wants to bring back Blood War Game? Blood? No. War Game? Yes. He's actively said both of those things. He will not bring back Blood. He will be bringing back War Games. Joey says, if Bray is coming back, do you think he'll have a faction with him since he trademarked the name Wyatt 6? I think it's certainly possible, but it depends who's available, because he'll have a list, but Triple H won't necessarily want to make it happen. Bray's big on lists. Venom says, Bobby looks weak as a face, struggled to beat Miz in a cage match, but he destroys Miz as a heel. Yeah, absolutely. Bobby Lashley is not as strong as he used to be, but at the time he was a WWE champion or incoming. It's very different to being US champion, and he's been putting on great matches so far. Triple H books things a lot more evenly, though what I will say, as regards Bobby Lashley winning the championship from The Miz, that entire show was perfect. Austin says, Brock versus Bobby, crown jewel, non-title or US. I'd be very happy with Brock versus Bobby in a US title match. I wouldn't be watching it because it's in Saudi Arabia, but I do think Brock losing to Bobby Lashley for the US championship really helps that championship. Sai says, it's quite right what Simon says. We're in an age of instant gratification. I like White Rabbit's slow burn. They're not hot-shotting everything and re-educating fans to have patience. I'm all for it. Quite a lot of fans, I think, do need a little bit of patience, particularly for certain wrestlers who they're desperately eager to get back, when in reality, they may be enjoying their time away. Simon says, Edge, Sasha compete for the most returns in a calendar pro wrestling year. Yeah, but with Edge, it's because he's on a part-time contract, so they have to write him off. Sasha's full-time. She just keeps leaving. Thank you, King James. He says, please, guys, acknowledge the like button. Please, he deserves it. Appreciate that, mate. If you've not yet clicked like, please do consider it. It would be a big help to me. And subscribe if you haven't already. Bit of news on that. We need 10 more subscribers, and we overtake someone I massively respect in Mr. Warren Hayes. I didn't really expect to be saying that at this point in time, considering how long he's been doing this, but it would be a hell of a coup to do so. Oh, Jaden, no, I don't see that one happening. Keith says, did anyone hear Bobby Fish sign for Impact Wrestling? Yes, we discussed that during the watch party on Friday. King Real says, Ali, damn good call. I do think so, and I think it's one of those where it's worth checking out. Spider-Boss says, if Saraya ever wrestles in AEW, I hope people in AEW protect Saraya. They will. They absolutely will. Brad says, Tom, who would be your picks to win this year's Rumbles? It would be, for me, Becky Lynch and Cody Rhodes. Though I do think someone else could win the Rumble and sort of separate in that regard, but it depends. I wouldn't put it past Sasha Banks to get a match with Bayley this year. Vegeta, welcome. Says Miz attacked him before the cage match started. Yep, so unfair advantage. That does need to be in consideration. A lot of people focus entirely on the finish when there was a whole match first. Will says, with the Bloodline and Roman doing huge numbers on SmackDown, it's giving me 96-97 now, where the Bloodline are healed but the fans love them like they are babyface. They have that NWO cool factor, no question. Spider-Boss says, if Mustafa Ali ends up coming out as the one behind White Rabbit, I hope people don't get disappointed because it isn't Bray. I think most people will be disappointed because it isn't Bray. I think they'll be shocked, surprised, and then start booing, and they will turn that into natural heel heat for whatever comes next. That just makes more sense for me. Especially when you consider that if that happens with Ali, Dominik Dijakovic could be getting a rebrand as well. Keith says, Tom, would you say it would be possible for Ray and Dominik to wrestle against each other after what happened several weeks ago at Clash at the Castle? Yes, that is the plan. The end game of this feud is Ray versus Dominik. Jaden says, how would they put WWE on Netflix? Would they put old pay-per-views or Raw shows? That's entirely up to the WWE. They would negotiate a deal that works for everyone. They're not replacing the WWE network. They're just trying to expand their current reach. Simon says, why is Dexter Lumis stalking The Miz in storyline? It's already being mentioned on TV yet. There's no reason that's really being given. They haven't clarified what the storyline is. We just have to keep watching and hope that eventually they do. Khalid, welcome. How you doing, mate? Simon says, it's also Damien Priest's birthday. Happy birthday, Damien. Cameron, welcome. Says, do you like pizza? Yeah. I like most Italian food. Vegeta clarifies Damien was yesterday. Thank you, Vegeta. Spider-Boss says, how long until we see Roxanne beating Mandy? Roxanne beating Mandy is my opinion, just to be clear. Stuart says, Tom, do you not think that if it's Ali, folk are going to feel it's just a letdown as they're expecting Bray? Yes, but if it's anyone, they're going to be disappointed if it's not Bray. So it's one of those damned if you do and damned if you don't, because that's not the plan for Bray. It's a plan for someone else, and if people start booing because of it, then every return, every debut, people are going to be annoyed. People are a little annoyed that Edge was returning because they saw the vignette and they were like, oh, it's Bray Wyatt. It never was. It was always Edge. It was always Edge. But people really wanted it to be Bray Wyatt, so they stopped caring. Jamesy says, you think SmackDown will hit 3 million this year or during WrestleMania season? Because looking like SmackDown's ratings going to the moon. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Austin says, heard Mandy's going to be the main roster soon with Toxic Attraction. I've heard that a lot myself. Spider-Boss says, could Bayley versus Bianca main event Extreme Rules? They could, depending on the stipulation. I don't think they're likely to. Khalid says, Tom, when do you see Edge returning? Shortly. He's going to be involved in pretty much every big storyline. They're just giving him a few weeks off here and there. Sean says, do you think Dakota and Io defended Extreme Rules? And if so, against who? Possibly, yes. It would probably be a rematch against Alexa Bliss and Asuka, but it could also involve Shotzi and Raquel Rodriguez, so it could be a free corners tag match. After all, if anything is going to convince Sasha Banks and Naomi to return soon, it's going to be a big push for the tag team championships, and didn't I say that was exactly what was going to happen? Daz says, when's the next pay-per-view? The 8th. Spider-Boss says, how long we will see Asuka and Alexa coming to the aid of Bianca against Damage Control until the next storyline starts. Austin says, I saw on Ronda's stream that they need to get their shit together with Shayna. Shayna is going to be involved with Ronda Rousey sooner rather than later. Keith says, I was shocked to see the Great Muta on Rampage helping Sting. I haven't seen these two in a wrestling ring since they feuded back in the World Championship Wrestling days. Yep, the Great Muta was an NWO member, don't you know? Welcome, noob. Michael says, Bray's big on lists. Jericho to WWE confirmed. Did Bray ever make the list? I don't think he did. Spider-Boss says, Triple H is always struggling to book baby faces. I don't agree with that at all. Doing a great job with Ronda. Doing a great job with Kevin Owens. Doing a pretty good job with Roman, even though it's not a babyface. Doing a great job with Drew right now. Doing a great job with Bianca Belair. There's a lot of really good babyface being booked right now, and I don't think you're accurate on that one. Wrestler fan says, will Johnny Gargano face Austin Theory at Extreme Rules 2022? No. Vegeta says, unless someone gets busted open accidentally and bleeds during that match, Triple H can't control if the cage cuts someone open. Very true, and they're not planning to go black and white, but there is no hard way blood planned. Bit confusing considering Triple H loved to get cut open. Get the Tables Welcome says, so with the WWE doing War Games at Survivor Series, does that pretty much mean we can say we won't get Gunter versus Lashley? It makes it a lot less likely. Absolutely a lot less likely. The plan is to move away from Raw versus SmackDown, and it may be that they're trying to save that match for later on down the way. It would be a hell of a big match, but I don't want them to. I think this is the right time for a little bit of fan service. I don't think it's a big problem to just say, yeah, we want to make this match happen, so do it. Jane says Sasha deserves her vacation. It's not a vacation when you walk out. That's not a vacation. It may have become one, but it's not a vacation. Eric says, right now I feel like there's 3 or 4 people to dethrone Mandy. Nikita? Oh, Nikita Lyons. Roxanne, Cora, Tiffany in that order. Plenty of people. I still think Roxanne's the one. Khalid says, Tom, do you see Dexter Lumis and Miz could have a match at Extreme Rules? Nope, they're playing this one really slow. Ghost says, hey Tom and chat, hope everyone's doing well. Doing very well, thank you Ghost, and I hope you are too. Spider-Boss says, my prediction to win the 2023 Royal Rumble are Cody and Sasha. Steve says, any news on the T-Bar Dijakovic repackage? You mentioning Ali makes me think this White Rabbit could be a Retribution-like group, only not crap. Literally, I saw that pop up just as I finished mentioning it earlier. I do think that could be a rebuild if Ali is allowed essentially to redo Retribution, but his own way, the way he wants to do it. Connor says, I really want Liv versus Ronda to be the main event purely because it'll be guaranteed to be a great match, and even if Liv loses, it'll be a great showing for her. I do think that is our most likely main event at this point in time. It was going to be Kross versus McIntyre, but right now, things be a-changing. Simon suggests everyone watch AJ versus Roman from Saturday's live event in Vancouver. Interesting. Joey says, do you think they could do Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley at Crown Jewel for the US title? They could, yes. Doesn't mean they will. I don't think they will. Venom says, why do I have this feeling that with Seth versus Ray tonight, Seth is going to try to go for Ray's eye again? He should. He absolutely should. Carlos Colon says, any chance the White Rabbit is Edge rejoining Judgment Day when Orton and Cody return as faces and Edge turns heel again? Lot of assumptions there, Carlos. Lot of assumptions. Real lot going on there that I can't really speculate on. Keith says it would be great to see Muta wrestle one more match in AEW. I don't find that likely. Monique says, could the Ray and Dominic match be a retirement match? Yes, it absolutely could. Rob says, just getting home from Hurricane prep. I'll rewatch the first half hour I missed after the show. I did see what was going on with Storm Ian. I really hope everyone does absolutely fine. Everyone's okay at the end of it, and that everyone doesn't take too much personal or property damage. I hope everyone's alright. Sai has posted a link to the Discord. Last time that happened, we got more than 10 new people in the Discord. So please, if you've not yet joined the Discord, check it out. You might quite enjoy it. Jaden says, I don't like it when wrestlers win the Rumble twice. It's unnecessary. I get what you're saying. I wouldn't say it's entirely unnecessary. Sometimes, for example, Steve Austin, it's absolutely necessary. Other times, not so much. Tommy says, in a way, dirt sheets kind of ruin wrestling by bringing in false hope of returns when WWE never had that planned in the first place. Firstly, how you doing, Tommy? Great to see you. Secondly, is it the dirt sheets or is that just fans? I think that's just fans. Joey says, I don't think Triple H would do all these teases for the White Rabbit just for it to be someone else. It would be a huge disappointment. That's not how it works. Triple H in no way has said that it's going to be Bray Wyatt. In no way has he said that. In fact, he's openly out there saying it's not. Saying it's someone that nobody is talking about, which is definitely not Bray Wyatt. So he's trying to calm you all down. It's not his fault if he's teasing something and you decide you know what it is. It's not his fault. Ray UK is apparently not interested in Bray. Vegeta says Stone Cold almost won 4 in a row. Well, technically, almost won 4. He only won 2. He didn't win the first one. He cheated. Venom says, do you see them giving Mandy a main roster women's world title? Maybe. Forever's a very long time. Spider-Boss says, I remember the last time SmackDown's ratings were high was during 2020 during the pandemic era. They were high, they weren't necessarily higher. Justin says, do you see Alexa or Asuka turning heel soon? Maybe. Who can tell? Tommy says, wasn't everyone an NWO member at one point in time? Pretty much, yes. Byron Cutler has asked me a question, but he's also shortly afterwards told me to read that question. So he's impatient. I'm just going to ignore him. Spider-Boss says, when we could see Johnny Gargano versus Austin Theory? Eventually. Venom says, Shayna needs to be built up for her match versus Ronda, otherwise it's going to be obvious Ronda is going to win. Regardless of how well she's built up, everyone will assume that Ronda's going to win, and everyone will assume it will be obvious, even when she doesn't win. So let's just calm down on that one. It's the same way that everyone assumes Charlotte Flair will win every single match, even when she doesn't. They just always assume. Simon says, what's your thoughts on the usage of Braun Strowman so far? So far, so good. I'm actually very happy with the use of Braun Strowman. The match against Otis was fantastic. It really showed a different Braun. Someone who will lose every now and then. Who will not be absolutely unstoppable. Braun needed that badly. Christoph, how you doing, mate? Says, hey, Tom, good to see you. Hope you're doing great. I absolutely am, Christoph. Welcome to the show. Will says, do you know if Rhea Ripley is still hurt since she hasn't been wrestling since she's been back? Not hurt to my knowledge at this point in time. It's just that there is no woman competing against her right now. Her work in Judgment Day has been amongst the men and it's getting her over, so they're letting it happen. Will says, I've already read that one. Spider-Boss says, what is your opinion of the current booking of the women's tag team titles? Good. Solid. Hopefully continuing. Austin says, could we see a return at Extreme Rules? Everything is on the table. We can see a return whenever. My answer will be the same for every single time you ask, could we see a return at this? Yes, we could see a return at any point. Simon says they want to protect heavily both Lashley and Gunter. Who do you have winning? Double DQ possibly. Gunter, I have Gunter winning. Vegeta says it is confusing considering that Triple H and his mentor Flair loved colour. They did, however, he's also at the behest of Nick Khan and Stephanie. King James says, when is Johnny Wrestling's first PLE? I suspect that will be the Royal Rumble. Sai says, I think Triple H is gearing up to give us a great face run with Sami Zayn. The eventual turn on him by the Bloodline, another slow burn, is going to be traumatizing. I absolutely agree. I would absolutely love that. And I can't see any finish in which they're not building to that. Give me Sami Zayn winning the Royal Rumble. Give me that. Sean says, could bragging rights return since they are moving away from Raw vs SmackDown or Survivor Series? You mean the pay-per-view? In which case, no. No. Ray, you've already said that. Khalid says, Tom, I like your opinion on when you said the man, Becky Lynch and Cody Rhodes. Good prediction. Yeah, Cody Rhodes seems the obvious one. I've said it pretty much since Hell in a Cell. Spider-Boss says, Dexter Lumis stalking Miz seems similar to when the Boogeyman had a feud with Booker T. I compare it more to Diamond Dallas Page following The Undertaker's wife around. Keith says it's a shame to hear about former Olympic and TNA and WWE champion Kurt Angle's condition. I didn't know until I had heard. I did know about this and actually had discussed this in the build-up to his last match at WrestleMania. There's a reason Baron Corbin was chosen. It was to make sure he didn't get injured. He could only take certain bumps, and Corbin was the guy to deliver them. Bailey says we may not notice it, but the groundwork to make Gunter a historic heel is underway. He could be main eventing a WrestleMania someday. Absolutely. Everything so far with Gunter has been absolutely perfect. Daz says, Tom, when is Randy or Cody back, please? Randy Orton is back end of this year, beginning of next year. Basically, he'll be back soon. As regards Cody, Royal Rumble seems most likely. Christoph says, I personally don't really like to see blood in wrestling. It's good to keep that a rarity, and that way it also means much more. Just think of how often Moxley bleeds. Yeah, too much for me. Too much for me. Steve is off to the gym to do the Muscle Man dance. See you later. See you later, Steve. Pull up your pants. Jaden says, when are we getting new title design? When Triple H wants to unveil new titles. Venom says if they're going to treat the wrestlers like shit, I don't blame Sasha for walking out. She's not in the wrong. All she did was stand up for herself. That is your opinion, and you're entitled to that. What I will say is that right now, nobody seems to be complaining that they're being treated like shit. Traffic said there would be no dirt sheets if there weren't fans who read them, and that is absolutely correct. You've got to consider dirt sheets, as much as people don't like them, serve a purpose. And that purpose is satisfying the fans who need to know everything, and they need to know everything now. Now. Those fans. Those fans never last long here in spoiler warning. They want it all now, but I want it right. And that's the difference. Spider-Boss says, I never got the point of Brock and Ronda winning the 2022 Royal Rumble this year. It was so that they would be competing for championships at WrestleMania. Vegeta says, Becky and Cody are surefire the favourites to win next year's Royal Rumble. Absolutely they are. KJ says, Raw tonight, for whatever reason, has over 12k in attendance. That's good for them. And random, I don't even know where they are. I believe it was mentioned earlier where they are, actually. Eric says, who is your favourite ever? Triple H. Absolutely Triple H. He's always been my guy. Keith says, Kurt Angle will always be known as the greatest wrestler of all time. Will he? Because a hell of a lot of people don't think that, and think other people instead. Ghost says, after seeing that Nikki Ash lost the 24/7 championship to referee Asia Rain at a house show recently, do you believe that the title will be eventually shown on Raw SmackDown again, or was this just a fun one-off segment? It will be shown on Raw and SmackDown if a storyline is considered valid enough to make that work. Until then, we won't be seeing it. Venom says that Bianca and Charlotte are the two biggest golden girls in WWE that get handed everything you get. They are good, but give someone else a chance. Funny that you say Bianca. Most people say Ronda and Charlotte. Billy Crystal, no relation, has followed on YouTube. Thank you for hitting that subscribe button. We are just one subscriber away from 1,660. And a very, very small way after that away from overtaking my nearest competitor, a man I very much respect, in Mr. Warren Hayes. Ray says, will you be watching Bound for Glory? Nope. Too much wrestling. I don't have time for Impact, unfortunately. Eric says, when do you see Rhea versus Bianca? Maybe for the Saudi show? As soon as they have a storyline for it. Judgment Day is, at this point, keeping things separate and getting most of the push, so Rhea Ripley is heavily involved in that instead. KJ says, if I'm not mistaken, SmackDown doing 2.5 was their most viewers when not let in by NFL since a few weeks after they debuted on Fox. Cena's debut on Fox did 2.5 way back when. Yep. 2.5 is their biggest number of the year. Keith, it's still an opinion. Very much still an opinion. Stuart says, do you see Rhea getting the women's belt once they decide to let her loose on the women's division again? Yeah, I see her being a champion again at some point in the future. Ring Scoops, welcome, says Tom. Get the tables. I'll get the tables, sir. Thomas says, what do you think we'll get this week on Raw in terms of the White Rabbit? Do you think it'll be more of the same? Yes, you will get breadcrumbs. I said it before and I'll say it again. Right now, all you are going to get from the White Rabbit is breadcrumbs. Until at least after Extreme Rules. Probably until after Saudi Arabia. If the ratings keep going up, they will never give you anything apart from breadcrumbs because you keep tuning in. You keep tuning in. Spider-Boss says the plot twist when Roman told Sami to take that shirt off made us all think the Bloodline would kick out Sami and end in Sami getting a new shirt. It was a magnificent, magnificent segment that will make the inevitable breakup that much more glorious. Joey says, how much longer is the Miz and Dexter storyline going to go on? For when will they have a match? Eventually. It's really hard to say, but people keep tuning in, so they'll drag it out. You've got to remember, Triple H is training the audience right now not to expect things immediately. So it's going to be a while. Vegeta says, I can see Sami winning the Royal Rumble, but I want Cody to win. I completely get that. I would love it to be Sami, though. KJ says, speaking of Gunter, I don't even think he's lost on TV yet. He has on live shows. Yep, no losses on TV as of yet. The only real losses that he's had are against Dragunov and Drew McIntyre at Survivor Series way back when. Khalid says, Tom, I like the news you give. You give us. Keep up the great videos and work and great content, my friend. Thank you kindly, Khalid. I will try my best to continue doing so. Byron, has he said that or are you just making that up? Edmonton, thank you, Vegeta. Ray says, I see Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens becoming a tag team in the future. I did very much see that, and I still very much do see that, with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn becoming the tag team champions, taking the belts away from the Usos. Keith says, I can't wait to see Jeff Hardy back in the ring Sunday. It's a shame what he went through this year with the arrest. It is a shame. It's also self-inflicted. Hopefully he is better. Sean says, most have said Alexa and Charlotte are the Golden Girls. A lot of people still say Ronda. Alexa's name has dropped out of that conversation recently. She hasn't been a Raw or SmackDown Women's Champion in a very long time. Simon says, personally, I really like Bianca. She's worked really hard to get where she is. She absolutely has. Robs is asking Sai if he has a Extreme Rules banner prepared. The man knows his stuff. Spider-Boss says, how far do you think England can go in the Qatar World Cup? Nowhere. Home. I think they'll come home. King James says, Braun versus Otis drew 2.7 million, so shoosh. Yep. It's weird, isn't it? It's weird, isn't it? Braun Strowman's a draw. But to be fair, that was also the draw segment. And after that, it crashed a little bit and then came back for the White Rabbit segment. Ghost says, since it is the season, I have the most important question of all. Monday, October 31st, what will you be for Halloween? That is a good question, Ghost. What should I be? Because we will be doing a show at Halloween. We'll be doing the show. So maybe I'll dress up as something. Maybe I'll dress up as a wrestler. Maybe I'll spend some money getting a big costume. We'll see how it goes. Certainly, I think that's an option. That could work. Noob says, this White Rabbit personal character is the biggest enigma in 2022. You say that, but I think the biggest enigma is CM Punk still employed? Rinscube says, I want to see Bray Wyatt versus Shane McMahon, have it similar to Bray Cena in 2020. Have Shane recreate the stand back video with him as Vince. I would like to see Shane continually shouting at Vince, catch the chicken, catch the chicken, catch the chicken, which I think could be fun. We could see a return for the corporate ministry. That could be interesting. Undertaker and Triple H and Mideon and Viscera and the Acolytes. They've still got everyone. I mean, they've got the entire brood available. Why not? I know that Christian isn't technically with the company anymore, but he could pop up. You can see that working. KJ says, Sammy's facial expressions were great. Absolutely they were. Spider-Ball says, what is your all-time favourite soccer match? Istanbul, mate. Istanbul. I'm a Liverpool fan. There's no other way. Simon says, Liv defeated Shayna Natalya in a triple threat match this weekend twice on a SmackDown house show circuit in California. Yep, they are still very much working together. Ronda is working a bit more of a limited date contract at the moment, so she's not always available. It's a good way of continuing to get her over. Byron says, Eddie Guerrero is one of the best wrestlers ever. Yeah, absolutely. Khalid says, did you see Teddy Long Twitter account was blocking people? Yes, I did. It was hilarious. Vegeta says, I'm pretty sure White Rabbit is Bray. Way too many connections. Triple H himself is making the case that that is not it. It's not Bray. Venom says, loads of the old women work really hard, but do you see them getting shoved down our throats like Bianca or Charlotte? Again, that is an opinion, and I personally disagree with it. Regards Charlotte, yeah, there's a bit of an overbooking there, but we haven't seen her for a while for a reason. So it's interesting saying that Charlotte's being shoved down our throats when she hasn't been seen on TV for 4 months. Billy says, at least Braun isn't a train anymore. He still does the choo-choo, but at least they don't play the sound effect. Spider-Boss says, at the beginning I wasn't a fan of Bianca. Her work with Sasha and Bayley and Becky made me a fan of Bianca. There is absolutely no question that we've seen really, really good matches from Bianca Belair. If you're currently watching on YouTube, please do remember to hit that thumbs up. We have 108 viewers and only the 52 likes. Every time we get a little rush of likes, we also gain another few viewers, which means we can potentially gain more subscribers. We can gain more income, more donations, more channel members. We could potentially get faster forwards to a point at which what will be happening is I'll be that much closer to full time. I want to go full time. You're all fully aware of that. I would love to be able to do it. Most of the income I get from this comes from ad revenue. I don't really want to be asking you guys for money, though I do have channel membership options if you're interested. But every like potentially means more viewers. Every subscriber potentially means more views. Every little does help. So please do consider hitting that like button. Connor says, I don't even care about who the music is. I just like who the White Rabbit is. I just like the music. No, I get that. My personal favourite version of White Rabbit is the Emiliana Torini version. That one stands out for me. It's the one from Sucker Punch. If you all have watched Sucker Punch, it's the one from Sucker Punch. Thomas says, hi Tom, not sure if this has been reported by you before, but it has been confirmed War Games will be 5v5. Yep, that has been reported here in this chat, on the live shows, and in a separate video. It was, how long ago did I... So I reported it more than 7 days ago, 7 days and 6 hours ago, to be exact, that it was going to be 5-on-5 War Games. That video, by the way, has 679 views, which is pretty damn good. Thank you for bringing that in, Thomas, the confirmation. Christoph says it would be great for Sammy and Kevin to stay together as a tag team for longer than just a few months. Once that happens, let's hope for that this time. Fingers crossed, absolutely. Ray says, do you think Mickie James will return to the WWE? No. I'll stay with Impact. Yes. Sean says, dress up like a Sith Lord for Halloween. All I need is a towel over my head. That's real easy. Sid, welcome, says, do you see promotions using viral moments? Pardon me. Like the White Rabbit more often than standard vignettes for debuts? Yes, I do, but I mostly see WWE doing it more. Venom says, do you think we could get CM Punk in WWE? No. Vegeta says, Braun is a monster of all monsters now. If you've listened to, and it's free now on PWTorch, if you've listened to Nick and Tom's Intercontinental Adventure, you would likely be aware of a discussion that myself and Nick had on that very subject. It looks like Braun is going to be used in a sort of monster division, built around people like Omos, Commander Aziz, and the like. For me, that's the right way to use Braun Strowman. Ring Scoop says, for Halloween, how about being Howard the Duck? That's a bit out of my capability, I'll tell you that. Maybe I would be Pyramid Head. That seems more achievable, though I would be poking the webcam a lot. KJ says, damn, Braun vs Otis did 2.7 million, as one of you guys mentioned. I think that was a draw segment. It was. It just shows you what big guys can still. I imagine it's can do that you were looking for there, mate. But absolutely, it was a really good match, and people were genuinely interested in it. 2.7 million people saw Otis put on a damn good show against Braun Strowman. That's a good place for him. Venom says, Bianca won the women's title 2 years in a row. Can't say that about many other women. You can say that about a lot of other women winning the championship 2 years in a row. You can say that about Charlotte. You can say that about... let's see. Becky. You can say that about Sasha. You can say that about Bayley. 2 years in a row she had it. Won it for a very prolonged period. You can say that about Ronda, certainly. You can say that about Alexa Bliss, who had a lot of championship runs in a very short amount of time. Yep, certainly. Brad, you can say that about Trish. You can say that about Lita. You can say that about Ivory way back when. Certainly you can say that about Sable. You can say that about Mickie James. You can say that about Michelle McCool, I believe. I know you meant it WrestleMania. I know you meant that. But that doesn't change the fact that a lot of people have been women's champion. Spider-Boss says, Teddy Long blocking people on Twitter. At least these people will not go one-on-one with The Undertaker. You say that, but give them time. Kali believes that Raw should be a good show tonight. I agree. KJ says, if Punk gets out of AEW, should he go into the WWE Hall of Fame? Do you think they'll put him in one day? They'll ask him. Can't guarantee he'll do it, but they'll ask him. Byron is saying that Triple H did not say about blood because WWE does not communicate, which is wrong. It's wrong. Thank you very much for subscribing, Christopher Simmons. Welcome to the show, mate. How you doing? Triple H was asked a question about blood. He said, ain't gonna be none. It's not your place there, Byron, to come in and say, well, he said it because of this. You don't know. You don't know. We are the most well-informed chat in wrestling. The reason for that is that we source our information, and I don't let people come in and just make things up. It's that simple. KJ says, tried saying big men can still draw. True. Ray says, do you think the Good Brothers will return to WWE after leaving Impact Wrestling? Nope, I think they're going to New Japan. I'm in fact seeing the Good Brothers wrestle this coming Sunday and Saturday in London for New Japan. Sid says, what if it's a double debut similar to what AEW did with Matt Hardy and Brody Lee? Mustafa could be revealed as White Rabbit, then Bray could debut later the same night. Possible. No reason not to, other than the fact that Bray currently isn't signed. But what I will say, Bray Wyatt is not the White Rabbit. Spider-Boss says, I never get why people compare Messi with Maradona, because they're both Argentinian and people see what they want to see. Khalid says, Tom, I could see Becky Lynch returning at the Royal Rumble as the man Becky Lynch and winning the Women's Royal Rumble. Yep, a lot of people are of that opinion. Jaden says, can you explain the White Rabbit thing? I don't know what you were talking about. There's been the tune White Rabbit played during ad breaks in the WWE for a couple of weeks now. So the tune White Rabbit is being played. There are hints and suggestions that this is related to someone either returning or debuting. A lot of people have decided that it's Bray Wyatt. With the way that the ideas are being laid out right now, I think Mustafa Ali has got something to do with it. Venom said, if Bray is coming back, what do you see the most likely time he returns? Great question that I will not be answering. Simon says, apparently Brock shaved off his beard. A photo of our favourite cowboy today. He'll have it back by the time he comes back, after all. He's Cowboy Brock for a reason. Daz says, Tom, what do you think is next for Dominic? A feud with Ray. Vegeta says 5 versus 5. So Bianca, Alexa, Asuka, Raquel and Aaliyah versus Damage Control and Sasha and Naomi. Which may or may not but be the exact situation that I've suggested at some point in the past. Byron says, Mattel said if WWE had blood, they would not work with them. Can you show me a quote there, Byron? Can you send a link to something? Can you show me where Mattel said that? Spider-Boss suggests for Halloween I wear Sasha Banks' wig. Go says you should be Shane McMahon for Halloween. I can see you doing Shane O'Mac's dance right now. Shane McMahon does have history on this channel. I like what you're going for there. I'd like to subscribe to your newsletter. Joey says, did you see Via got sent back to NXT? Do you think this will happen to more main roster talent that aren't being used? Yes, there is going to be a lot more manoeuvring for the NXT developmental section. A lot more manoeuvring. Christoph says, Nick and Tom's Intercontinental Adventure really is excellent, everyone. Thank you, Christoph. I know you're a long-term listener, and I appreciate you dropping in and letting people know. Barry, wow. Wow, mate. Wow. Simon says, Braun Strowman teamed with the New Day to defeat Rikishi's Free Kids, part of the Bloodline this weekend, twice on the house show circuit. Yep, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a long-term thing, but that's what they're doing at the moment. KJ says, can we take a minute and appreciate the edge certain guys have now under Triple H in charge? KO, Riddle, Braun, Ronda, and now even Liv. To be fair, I also think we need to mention Seth Rollins in that. He's always had an edge. I mean, he literally poked someone's eye out. But still, it's definitely grown. Tobiga says hi. Hello, Tobiga. Simon says Drew missed this weekend's house shows because of really bad food poisoning. That is a report from the Wrestling Observer. It is indeed. Simon, please remember to source your information. Christopher Simmons says, in your thoughts, do you see Bray appear at Extreme Rules? Nope. Eric says, I would love to see you being a manager. I'd love to do it. I think I could get away with a little bit of a Paul Heyman. I could get people hating me. Wouldn't even be hard. Connor says AJ Lee and Paige as well. Absolutely. A lot of people. Sean says, I think Teddy said in a video his Twitter was hacked. It was, yes. Nice to know, Tobiga. Casting content is, why should Raw be great tonight? A lot of good matches lined up, I'll say that. A lot of very exciting concepts and things put forward that I'm very excited for, so it certainly could be a lot of fun. Ringscoop says, how about being a Ghostbuster fan? Spider-Voss says, could we see Roman versus AJ soon? Nope. Eric says, how about Liv winning the Royal Rumble? You'd have to lose the championship first. Brad says, accidental blood may happen, but blading shouldn't happen. Yep, that's exactly what Triple H said. Khalid said, Tom, if Becky Lynch wins the Women's Royal Rumble, what title should she go after? Whichever one she wants. Depends if there's a draft yet. Michael says, why are fans now trained to believe that wrestlers returning around the Rumble automatically means they're winning? They're not necessarily trained for that, but you've got to remember, wrestling fans have decided, my favourite's coming back, and they're winning everything. A whole load of wrestling fans. Doesn't even matter who their favourite is, but their favourite is coming back, and they're winning the top belts. They've all decided so. Anything less than that, and they're being buried, and it's not fair. It's not fair. Batgirl says, hey Tom, just want to let you and your viewers know to be wary of Zero News, just due to the fact they've admitted to making up news via DMs to people on Twitter. Wow. Ring Scoops. No chance, mate. No chance. I don't care enough about that to make it happen. Also, let's be honest. Why are we the news story? Why should that be the news story? It should be really simple. Should be really simple. Journalism should be collaborative. Should be that. And yet here we are, people wishing for fights, chief amongst them people who actively start fights and then get people to record it so that they can publicise it on social media. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. Sean says, why would Sasha and Naomi come back as heels if they would be put up against Damage Control? Maybe they're not going to be put up against Damage Control. Maybe they're going to join Damage Control. Barry says, White Rabbit, that's WR. It's William Regal returned to announce War Games. I like it. Vegeta says, I actually loved Shane as a heel. Shane McMahon knows how to cut a good promo, I'll say that. Spider-Boss says, Boston Glow along with Damage Control. Would be cool to see it. Venom says, when do you think we'll get Jordan Devlin versus Finn Balor? We've already had Jordan Devlin versus Finn Balor just on NXT UK. I was there when I saw it. KJ says, I miss Funny Riddle, but current Riddle is great. Funny Riddle will return with Randy Orton. KJ says, I wish they'd make R-Truth a two-face character. Have him be his old heelish self, along with him being the goofy truth with Lil Jimmy, and he'll never remember what he did as the other character. That's Vince McMahon booking right there. Spider-Boss says, PWInsider reported that Drew won't be working on live events during this weekend. Thank you for the clarification there, Spider-Boss. Christopher Simmons says, I don't see The Rock returning to face Roman. He's just so busy in Hollywood. The Rock, at this point in time, is not booked to be wrestling a match at WrestleMania. The Rock is not booked to be wrestling a match at any point for the WWE at this point in time. Eric says, I just started watching again. What is a Fight Pit match? You'll see. There's one in NXT. In fact, there's two in NXT. There's one that was Rhea Ripley and Mercedes Martinez as well, I believe. That was a Fight Pit. It's Matt Riddle's specialty. I believe it favours Seth Rollins, and so does Instagram if you track the WWE account on that. But basically, it's very similar to the Lion's Den from SummerSlam 98. So check that out. Rainscoop's absolutely right. WR is also Wyndham Rotunda. Venom says, as much as I love Becky, she's already won the Rumble. I hope it's Sasha. I hope it's someone new and fresh. I hope it's someone who can be elevated to that live level. I hope it's Rhea Ripley. Failing that, what if it's Shayna Baszler? And that's how we get Shayna versus Ronda at WrestleMania. I think there's good options there. Spider-Boss says, apart from Becky, who's your second favourite female wrestler? Probably Alexa. Simon says, I've been telling my friends on Twitter to watch your video for all the best Sasha news, Tom. Thank you, Simon. I appreciate that. When I have Sasha news, you know I make it as clear as possible. I always announce at the beginning what I'm going to be talking about. If it's Sasha, you know it's going to be in the thumbnail, because why wouldn't it be? At this point, there is no new Sasha news, so I can't share any. Vegeta says the plan is Becky versus Bayley. She doesn't have to necessarily win the Royal Rumble, but it would be easier. It would be, but I think there's a storyline enough there that we don't need to worry about it. Venom says, when do you think we'll get another Punjabi prison match? Also, it's the only instructor who's never been to Saudi. I don't think we're getting another Punjabi prison match. I don't think we ever will get that again. And I hope not, anyway. Spider-Boss says, could we ever see Cena versus Austin Theory? Maybe. The future is a long, long time. Venom says it was Riddle versus Thatcher and Ciampa versus Thatcher in Fight Pit. Thank you, Venom. Appreciate that. Will says, are they teasing a Finn Balor versus AJ Styles feud? Not at the moment, no. Rainscoop says, Velvet McIntyre is grossly underrated. Just saying. KJ says, I agree. Rhea would be a nice fresh name to win the Rumble. Vegeta says, I'd be down for that if it fixes Shayna. Lots of really good options there. Lots of really good options. Christoph saying, Venom, you're right. Beat me to it. Was Thatcher's specialty. Thank you kindly. I did not realise that. KJ says, will Randy face Roman at some point when he comes back? Likely, yes. That's something that Triple H does want to bring back as well. Justin says, with Balor and Styles having segments now, with Anderson and Gallows rumoured to be free agents, Judgment Day versus Club is coming, is my bold prediction. We'll have to wait and see on that. And Connor says, I immediately thought of Margaret Thatcher. What a vision of her in a fight pit. What a horrible, horrible vision indeed. So, at this point, it is 5 minutes past 11 p.m. here in the UK. I do have work in the morning. We have no more comments. So I'm going to wrap it up there. Huge thanks to everyone who's joined us. I really do appreciate it. We continue to be very, very well attended, and I'm so grateful to all of you for joining, for liking, for subscribing, for continuing the growth of this channel. We are doing extremely well at the moment. Huge thanks to all of you. Thank you for sticking it out with some ads, for donating when you do. Thank you very much, King Rail, for that. Until Friday, when we'll have another spoiler warning, all I will say is that I've been Tom Colohue, you've been fantastic, and I'll see you all very soon.